What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Studying Cinema. I know I'm a couple days late on this one, but today we're going to be talking about Cadillac Records. And I gotta say, honestly, I never seen this movie up until recently. I just watched it yesterday to be exact, and to my surprise, honestly, it's a stellar biopic. I already knew the time period that it covered, and I already knew that it was based off of true events to a certain extent. But going into it, I didn't know I was going to learn as much as I did with this movie, showcasing how everything went down in Chicago with the whole blues movement and what we know R&B to be as today. Back in the day, blues and what was known as race music was made popular by individuals like Muddy Waters, Little Walter, Howlin' Wolf, Etta James. These are some of the pioneers in the blues game that have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that this movie acknowledges. And seeing the history that unfolds within this movie, it just lets you know about the impact that these individuals had in music and in life in general and within the black culture. This movie specifically follows the path of Muddy Waters. He's really the main character to a certain extent. Him and Leonard Chess, they are the two main characters in this movie. Leonard Chess was the founder of Chess Records in Chicago, Illinois. He was a white man of Polish descent. And, he was in Chicago hustling, trying to make his way. He had a wife and a kid and everything. He was really trying to get up on his feet and start an empire. The first thing he did was open up a bar in Chicago, and it was going well. He even had individuals like Muddy Waters come in there and perform impromptu, as well as have bands come in there and schedule their performances as well. So he had a lot of talent coming in there. He had a lot of money coming through there because of the fact that it was a bar and he had music, and it was very copacetic. It was very in tune with what black culture was during that time period. And we would see later on in the movie that the bar gets burnt down. This is when he goes into investing all of the insurance money into the record company. He opens up Chess Records in Chicago, and, he signs individuals like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and a plethora of other artists that come through to Chicago to make music, specifically blues music. He would go on to even produce music for individuals like the Rolling Stones and certain rock bands that are outside of black culture per se. Leonard Chess did play a huge role within the forwardness of the blues movement, but it was all at the price of the individuals that he was signing to, and one of those individuals was Muddy Waters. We see how they have a good relationship in the movie, but as soon as Howlin' Wolf comes in the picture, you see Wolf and Muddy Waters come from the same area back in Mississippi. Muddy grew up sharecropping and everything, so he's coming from an area of hard work, not really having the free will to do the things that he's doing right now, living in Chicago, making music, and just living a life of luxury to a certain extent. Wolf also comes into the picture being that stern character that doesn't really want to take no advances from Leonard. And the very first scene that we see of him, he declines the advance that Leonard is trying to give to him and just tells Leonard, to just pay him what he owes him. And in a way tries to school Muddy by saying that, this car that I got, it takes me from point A to point B. I don't need nobody overseeing my pockets to get where I want to get to. That right there planted the seed of Muddy being in his head about where his money was at and just how much money was supposed to be coming in. We see how right after Wolf leaves, he's talking to Leonard about, money issues, and Leonard just kept it a buck with him. Leonard was like, that car wasn't free, you feel me? And Muddy realizes all of the stuff that he's getting from the record company and getting from Leonard, it's already paid for by him, unbeknownst to him. And all of the real cash that he wants to see is gone already. Now Leonard goes, do you need money? Do you need money? And Muddy, right after that interaction with Wolf, didn't really have the pride to ask him for no money right then and there. But we see how basically Leonard has money in his pocket financially and how Muddy has to rely on him. Later on in the movie, we have different instances of Leonard giving him money, giving him cash, writing him checks, just to help him make ends meet. Muddy is struggling with the mortgage. He's struggling raising children. His wife is back home taking care of everything, and it's just harder on him than it is for Leonard, who we see is living good. You feel me? He living real good off of these people. But everybody in the game, they know what's up. You feel me? The ones that know, they know, and they just in the game to make their dollar and to get their name out there and to make more money, get bigger opportunities. Howlin' Wolf was one of those individuals. He didn't take no advance or nothing. He just took everything that was owed to him in the end. He was able to make his bread. We even see how Chuck Berry comes on the scene. And, people mistake him for being a white man and stuff, but he was actually Indian black man, you feel me? He was the pioneer of rock and roll, the real king of rock and roll, you feel me? We see how he pops up on the scene, and it's really noted that he didn't really have no vices other than women. He was able to save his money and save over $100K in his first year of recording music with Chess Records. So Muddy was looking at these people like, dang, you feel me? I really set myself up to be in this guy's pocket and really not have the financial gain that these other people are seeing. And I'm the one that kind of started this whole thing with Leonard. That's how he was feeling. And we see how he gets kind of jealous of these different artists to a certain degree. He's kind of feeling a little bit of animosity, but it's not really so much directed towards them. It's directed towards the fact that he set himself up to be in a bad contract with Leonard versus the opportunity that these other artists are getting. While he was, one of the pioneers of the blues genre. We even see how Little Walter goes through his journey in this movie. He started out with Muddy, and he was playing the harmonica. He was one of the bandmates that Muddy came into crossing with while living in Chicago, and he just added him to his band. They formed a good relationship. They was able to rely on each other, and, they moved forward and everything. But after Little Walter's mother passed away, he turned to drinking. And, Muddy was kind of an aid in that since he offered him to drink, at least in the movie. In real life, things may have went a little bit differently in real life, but we never know. But at least in the movie, we see how he turns to drinking and other vices to kind of cope with some of the things that's going on in his life, all of the pressures from being an artist as well as the family situation that he's coming from. So he kind of acts out a lot, you feel me? He has a lot of scenes where he's just wearing his heart on his sleeve. He's very emotional, and it comes to bite him in the end, you feel me? He has an interaction with the police, and he's not really just taking the police very seriously. The police end up, doing what they do to him. Mind you, this is back in the day where segregation and all that was going on, so the relationship is very, very different. So he gets beat up, scarred up by the police, and after that, he really never looks the same, you feel me? Never really looks the same on top of all the alcohol and all of the other vices that he was dipping into. So, and after that incident with the police, he kind of leaves the record company. But, comes back around later on after Chuck Berry goes to prison and everything. But we see in the end how his life turns out, and he dies at an early age of, I think, like 38, 39. He didn't really live a too long of a life due to everything that was going on. In the movie, we see that he ended up in a bar fight or in a fight based off of gambling and stuff. I don't know if he passed away the way the movie depicted him passing away or if he passed away from other causes, but, that's how we see his life play out. And it's kind of sad to see how big of an effect these individuals had on the music game, but the music game had a real negative effect on some of these individuals' lives. I know everything in this movie isn't 100% factual. I looked it up and I really had to make sure if Etta James had relations with Leonard Chess, you feel me? And, on Google and all of these other sites, they say that there was no relationship. There was no relationship at all between Leonard and Etta James, but I don't know why they even played that off in the movie. Maybe just for dramatic effect, just to add a little something. But for a biopic, I don't know if throwing that in the movie, if it's not true, is something that you should throw in the movie. Based off of the biography from Etta James, they didn't have any type of relationship in that way. So I'm taking her word for it versus what the movie depicted, you feel me? I really do like how all of these actors are able to bounce off of each other. Jeffrey Wright really did his thing as Muddy Waters, you feel me? Columbus Short, he did his thing as Little Walter. The guy that played Howlin' Wolf really did his thing. You felt his presence and his vibe every time he was on the screen. And also Adrian Brody, you may know him from movies like King Kong or whatnot, but he played Leonard Chess in this movie, and he really did his thing. I personally do feel like this might be Beyonce's best movie that I've seen her in. I feel like she did her thing probably because, she lives this life in the music industry already. So it's probably easy for her to tap into this character of Etta James and channel that, you feel me? And, I feel like she did her thing. Like I said, I feel like she really did her thing in this movie. A lot of the actors in this movie really showcased their talent and really channeled the spirit of these musicians that were a big part of rock and roll and the blues genre and black culture, you know. Overall, I really do like this movie. I really like the pacing. I like the acting. I like everything about this movie. I like how it showcases black history. I like how all of the musicians are represented in this movie as well. Like I said, I don't know why they would throw in the relationship with Etta James and Leonard Chess like that if it's not true. I don't know if her abusing drugs to that degree is also true. But other than that, everything else that I've seen through this movie and based off of what I've researched on my own, I like the representation that a lot of these actors gave. Overall, I would recommend this movie if you haven't seen it already. Like I said, I feel like it's Beyonce's best performance in the movie. Jeffrey Wright, he did his thing representing Muddy Waters. All of the stories and the subplots in this movie kind of flow very well. Nothing's really left hanging in this movie, for real. Everything kind of gets answered. And the things that you really don't see on screen, back to back to back, you know, they come back around and they answer those questions later on. You don't really see too much of Muddy Waters' his wife throughout this movie, who's played by Gabrielle Union. You see her when you need to see her, and her story is told throughout her scenes in a way that, you know, you don't really miss nothing from her. So, like I said, the pacing and the representation in this movie is very well done. I would, like I said, recommend watching this movie if you haven't already. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning into this one. We're going to keep it rolling, you feel me, with these movies and these reviews. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys want to see reviewed next, whether it be a movie, TV show. Let me know what you guys want me to review and talk about, you feel me, get my perspective on it. Let me tune into it. Until next time, you feel me, I'm going to catch y'all.